So, what is happening here is that we are having Parikshit Maharaj. He is inspiring our Sukadev Goswami to speak Harikatha. And he's telling, please speak about Narada Muni's preaching exploits, to whom and how he explained about the qualities of the transcendental Lord. Kindly explain. I wish to know the truth of the Lord, the wonderful potencies, because such narrations are auspicious for the entire world. So this is something that is going to be very, very auspicious for the entire world. So kindly speak out the subject matter to us. Please continue to speak so that I can give up my body while absorbing my mind in Krishna, and while I'm in completely detached of material possessions or material attachment. Of course, we can definitely understand how Parikshit Maharaj is making an effort to remember Krishna, right? The devotee knows, yes, again, we all know we are all going to die at any point in time. And how much effort are we putting to remember Krishna each and every moment? That is what is Krishna consciousness. How much conscious are we? Uh, how much conscious are we uh, trying to remember Krishna? Because Smaran doesn't happen for us automatically, right? We have to put an effort to remember Krishna. And how often are we taking that effort to remember Krishna? This is a question we have to ask ourselves, dear devotees, right? And now, for this kind of devotees, what happens? The Lord will quickly manifest in their heart. Um, Srinuvata Swagata Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtanaha. So this is a very, very quoted verse, and we all know for a devotee who continuously hears and chants about him with faith and serious endeavor, what happens to him? For him, Harikatha purifies the heart. Krishna, in the form of Harikatha, enters the heart through the ears and washes away all the contamination, such as lust, anger, greed, just as the autumn rain clears the water reservoirs. And then we understand, yes, a devotee never gives up Lord's lotus feet. Such a person with purified heart never gives up Lord's lotus feet. As a traveler is satisfied at home after a troubled journey. He is very, very troubled after the journey and he is very satisfied at home. So, devotee of the Lord who knows about the Lord, just like a traveler who knows about his home, is very well satisfied. Like that, a devotee is satisfied just by taking the lotus feet of the Lord at all points in his life. Now, questions posed by Parikshit Maharaj. Sukadev Goswami answers the following questions of Parikshit Maharaj in various parts of Srimad Bhagavatam, as we all know. Now, the questions that he poses about the Lord are: how did the Jiva, who's spiritual, attain a body which is material? You're all able to understand this question? How did the Jiva, who's spiritual, attain a body which is material? The answer to this particular question is given in verse 2.9.1, 3.7.10 to 12. This is where we'll get our answers, dear devotees. In order to know the answer, we have to hear Srimad Bhagavatam. Srinivata Swagata, continuously hear. I mean, do not miss a class, continuously hear, always hear. And then through that, we are going to get deep answers for the questions that Parikshit Maharaj has posed. And now, there is also this question. Both the Lord and the common living entities assume bodies. What is the difference between them? For that, the answers are given in 2.9.2 to 4, 2.10.8 to 9, and 37 and 40. So you can understand, dear devotees, how important is the ninth chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam. As I told you, the second canto, ninth chapter, if we understand that in depth, then a lot of questions that we have lingering in our mind are going to get answered. So let's also try to pray and pray that we are able to understand that subject matter from the ninth chapter, understand the Acharya's commentary if possible, and then get the deep understanding as to how we can apply that in our lives as well. So this is what we should be hankering for. So now, I just sort of spoke to you the summary of all the verses that has been covered so far, dear devotees. So we will get into our verse for today and go through Srila Prabhupada's purport. And then we'll also go through some of the relevance of the purport with some understanding. All right. So let's get into it. 2 dot. Two. So today's verse is 2.8. I mean 2 dot. Can somebody tell me, dear devotees? Yes. Okay, 2.8.6, right?
Mataji, I did 6 yesterday. I think it's 7 today.
Oh, it's 7 today. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So now we will just listen to the purport. Oh dear, oh learned Brahmana, the transcendental spirit soul is different from the material body. How does he acquire a body? Instantly or by some cause? Will you kindly explain this? For it is known to you. Maharaj Parikshit, being a typical devotee, is not satisfied by confirming the importance of hearing Srimad Bhagavatam from the representative of Brahmaji by disciplic succession. But he is still more anxious to establish the philosophical basis of Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam is the science of Supreme Personality of Godhead, and all such questions that may arise in the mind of a serious student must be cleared by the statements of authority. A person on the path of devotional service may inquire from his spiritual master all about the spiritual position of the Lord and the living beings. From the Bhagavad Gita as well as Srimad Bhagavatam, it is known that qualitatively the Lord and the living beings are one. The living being is conditioned state of material existence is subjected to many transmigrations by continuous changing of the material body. But what are the causes for this material embodiment of the part and parcel of the Lord? Maharaj Parikshit inquires about this important matter of the for the benefit of all classes of candidates on the path of self-realization. Indirectly, it is confirmed that the Supreme Being, the Lord, makes no such material changes of the body. He is spiritually whole, with no difference between the body and the soul, unlike the conditioned soul. The liberated living beings who associate with the Lord in person are also exactly like the Lord. Only the conditioned beings awaiting liberations are subjected to the change of bodies. How this process first began. In the process of devotional service, the first step is to take shelter of the spiritual master and then inquire from the spiritual master about the process. The inquiry is essential for immunity to all kinds of offenses on the path of devotional service. Even if one is fixed in devotional service like Maharaj Parikshit, he must inquire from the spiritual master about this. In other words, the spiritual master must also be well versed and learned so that he may be able to answer all the inquiries of the law from the devotees. Thus, one who's not well versed and authorized in scriptures and is not able to answer such relevant inquiries should not pose as a spiritual master for the matter of material gain. It is illegal to become a spiritual master if one is unable to deliver a disciple. Of course, we understand, right? When all the questions that we have in spirituality has to be answered, has to be cleared, then only one will be able to imbibe the science of Krishna consciousness. If there are doubts that are lingering in the mind, and if you're not able to get the answers for those queries, then what happens, dear devotees? What is missing there? Definitely, one component is missing. That is the component of faith. If you do not have this component of faith, you cannot progress in devotional service. This is very, very basic. And only with the amount of faith that each and every devotee has, the amount of Krishna consciousness would increase. And we will be able to practice Krishna consciousness. Okay, I have faith in the words of my spiritual master. That's why I wake up early in the morning, chant my rounds, and then start my day. Is this true or not? Without this component of faith, we will not be able to adhere to the principles of devotional service. So, as the component of faith becomes stronger and stronger and stronger, then our seriousness, our sadhana, everything will increase in multiple folds. Like a pure devotee, he always tries to remember Krishna. But what do we do? How are we spending our day? If we ask ourselves, we'll get our answer. Yes, I'm spending most of my time working to earn money to support my family. Or 100% of the time I'm doing that, 5% I'm doing in Krishna consciousness. But as our faith increases, we understand, yes, you know what? Krishna is my maintainer. He will maintain me. He will maintain not only me, my family also. This is what happened with Shivas Pandit, right? So when the devotee gets this faith, that's the basic, that's the first step to Krishna consciousness. Then, then his life will be changed for good. This is the point, dear devotees. So we will go over certain things that I wanted to maybe clarify in today's class. And then if you have any questions, we can get that answered as well. So now you are able to see, yes, Parikshit Maharaj is first inspiring Sukadev Goswami. Yes, yes, speak Krishna Katha. Then he says, yes, there is definitely glorification. He glorifies the Hari Katha. And then he says, what does that lead to? It leads to purification of the heart. After that purification, what happens? Lord is going to manifest in your heart. And once that happens, the devotee will never give up the lotus feet of the Lord. It's a very, very important verse that you have seen from second to sixth. So probably you've all gone over that in detail. And now he talks about, okay, I have some questions about Lord and Jiva and why he's asking it. It's always for the benefit of the people, right? Just so that they can all progress in devotional service. He asks these questions. That's how Srimad Bhagavatam is. All the questions to all our spiritual inquiries are always answered, some or the other, by a devotee. And this is a book which has its questions and it also has the answers for everything. When it comes to spirituality, if you are thorough with Srimad Bhagavatam, then I think we will have most of all our questions answered. And specifically, after reading Srila Prabhupada's purports, then go and dive into Acharya's commentary. That's it. It just makes your life very, very useful. The purpose of our God-given life will be fulfilled when we read Srila Prabhupada's commentaries over and over, understand his intent, understand his meaning, then go and dive into our Acharya's commentaries and see what they have to say. With this, all our queries will be answered, dear devotees. That is going to be a very, very useful endeavor. The purpose of our life is to remember Krishna and become a servant of Krishna. So let's all pray that we are able to understand Srimad Bhagavatam in multiple ways. Through commentaries, through Srila Prabhupada's purpose, through Srila Prabhupada's audios, etc. Right? So let's probably get into a few things that I wanted to go over today. Okay. Now, we all know, let me see, 1 minute, dear devotees. So Krishna, he always says in Bhagavad Gita, right? Manmana bhavamat bhakto. So Krishna always says, think of me, become my devotee, worship me and offer your homage unto me. In this way, you will come to me without fail. This is a promise that Krishna has made to every living entity. In the third canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, Lord Kapila explains to his mother Devhuti that I'm going to explain you this very vast, intricate, and complicated philosophy of Sankhya Yoga, which is going to thoroughly explain, okay, how is this material creation working and why it's working the way it is? What is absolute truth? What is living entity? What is karma? How to attain the transfer of material consciousness into spiritual consciousness. In fact, all the Vedic scriptures in the world, be it Bible, Quran, all the injunctions, so many things, so many processes are purifying our heart. And Lord Kapila explains that all the scriptures, all the instructions are meant simply to bring the living entity to the perfection of his form. What is his perfection of his form? That is to always remember Krishna and never forget Krishna. The gopis of Vrindavan, they were considered the highest yogis. Do they have mystic yogic powers? They were simple village living beings. They were not in the caves producing ashes and gold and then listening to the sounds of the universe and controlling people's minds and making millions of disciples. No, they have nothing other than the cows. And they took the butter from the cows and they cleaned their houses. Most of the time, they And they are considered the supreme yogis. Why? Because they are always praying with their tongue non-stop. They are always chanting Krishna's name. Non-stop. They are saying Govinda, Madhava, Damodara. In this way, they are always thinking about Krishna. And what is this? This is the perfection of life. Devotee, he doesn't care for any possessions, any other position also. Gopi Bhartur Padakamalayo Das Dasanu Das. A devotee does not care, a pure devotee, of course. He doesn't care for any amount of material possession he has or any amount of mystic powers that he has. What about liberation? No, he doesn't care about that. Doesn't even want followers, doesn't want uh, anything prestigious to satisfy his ego. He simply wants to be a humble servant of Lord's service and worship the Lord, and with all humility, he wants to do this. This is his only ambition. And Srimad Bhagavatam, it describes the supreme occupation of a humanity is that which brings one to a platform of devotional service, loving devotional service to the Lord. That is love to the Lord without any expectations, unmotivated, uninterrupted. Um, so now he is God, and why we should compete with God? He is Yogeshwara. He has all the mystic potency, mystic powers that are available to the demons also, right? He could control anybody's mind. He has control life of everybody. He controls the life of everybody. Now, if you look at Ramayana, right? Ramayana, we have seen so many situations, right, where how Hanuman was able to do things that just was effortlessly wouldn't be possible with his own endeavor, like lifting the mountain. He was not sure if he would be able to lift the mountain and then take it to Lakshman. Through Ram can give anything to anybody, right? That is the power of the Supreme Lord. And there are so many such stories, dear devotees, of how, be it Ramayana or be it Krishna's pastimes, everything is telling us that it's just not us who's doing what we could do. It's just possible only because of Lord's mercy or spiritual master's mercy. If one attains the mercy of a spiritual master, if he is a lame man, he can cross the mountain. That is impossible. But he can do it with spiritual master's mercy. If he is dumb, he can also speak a beautiful poetry. He can preach. This dumb person can preach and convert millions of people and have them come to Krishna consciousness. Even of a blind, he could see the farthest stars on the sky. This is all due to mercy of the spiritual master. So now we know Hanuman's power was in his faith. He had faith on Ram, and he would just do anything for Ram's sake. He had the will to do it. I'm ready to take risk for Ram. Yes, no matter what, I will take. That's what a devotee should hanker for. I'm ready to take risk for Krishna. I'm ready to do this for Krishna. Some service opportunity comes. Oh, will I be able to do it? Will I? No, just take it up. Then Krishna will do his magic. Our spiritual master will do the magic to make it all happen. That is the power, right? I mean, we are thinking, Hanuman's power was in his faith. He had faith on Ram that he would just do anything. And Ram empowered him to do it. If we have faith, if we have that faith, God will empower us. Just so that, from our side, we do not give our own excuses and justification why we cannot do it. Then how will God empower us? The more you keep making excuses, the more there are chances of you coming down and down. So for that, we have to think Hanumanji. Hanumanji, as soon as he heard the word of Jambavan, he went flying across from Lanka to the eastern tip of Bharatvarsha over the ocean. And then he tried to jump the holy mountain He climbed the mountain and there was a beautiful snow. There were a lot of, obviously when Hanuman saw, when the mountain saw that Hanuman was coming in order to live, in order for some herbs or something, he didn't want to sacrifice her herbs. The mountain, she withdrew all the herbs back into the soil. And Hanuman was thinking, what is this? What's happening? Try to understand, we are also like a mountain. Everything belongs to Ram, correct? Everything belongs to the God. Everything is my property, Krishna says. 5.29 Bhagavad Gita. All the planets belong to me, and everything within that planet also belongs to me. You are not this body, and nothing of this body belongs to you. And nothing that belongs to this body is yours. And we always think we are the body, we are the mind, we are the qualities of the mind, and all that belongs to the body is mine as well. This is our problem. I am this body, and everything in relation to this body is mine. My body, my family, my wealth, my prestige, my business, my abilities. Nothing is yours. It's all God's. He has given it, and someday He's going to take it away. That is the sweet will of the Lord. Everything will be taken away. Just like we are speaking, I mean, everything belongs to the Lord, and only due to His empowerment, we do what we do. You all know the story, right? I mean, the eldest son of Jagannath Mishra, Vishwarupa, how he took sannyas. He left the home, entered into the forest, and became a sannyasi. So Jagannath Mishra, he began to think, I'm lamenting so much because my child has left me. But actually, Krishna has given me this child. And Krishna wants to take him away. What can I say? This child belongs to the God, and everything belongs to the God. But we, like this foolish mountain who was trying to hide its herbs from Hanuman, what are we doing? Lord, when the Lord wants to take what belongs to him in our care for his service, we want to hide it, right? We want to be attracted and say, no, no, Krishna, I don't even have what you're asking for. I'm using it already, it's mine. But Hanuman is merciful. He understood that this mountain was in Maya. Maya means you think you are the proprietor and you are the enjoyer. Bhakti means to understand Krishna is the proprietor and he is the enjoyer. So therefore, that mountain was like, you're trying to keep what God has given, right? And we don't want to use it for the service of Krishna. Then what kind of faith you're having? What kind of faith is that? Rupa Goswami, he's saying, we don't want, I mean, when you look at Rupa Goswami, anything he would want to give to Krishna. And what Krishna would do, he will give millions of times over to you. That's what Rupa Goswami said. Anything you give to Krishna, know that you're going to get 100 million times over. Sudama Vipra, he gave a few spices of Krishna, and Krishna returned a beautiful abode, beautiful palace full of luxuries, like that of a king of heaven. That's how Krishna works. So Hanuman, being a sadhu, he was not content to just go by the mountain and say, oh, you're not giving. Like the spiritual master, if the disciple is not willing to surrender to Krishna, the spiritual master is not going to give what he has to the disciple. The spiritual master will do everything when the disciple surrenders. So now Hanuman, he lifted the mountain and said, all right, mountain, if you're not willing to give me, I'm going to take everything. Right? So Hanuman lifted that mountain and said, all right, mountain, I'm going to just take away everything from you. And he uprooted the entire mountain and he held it over his upper arm and began to fly to Lanka. So Hanuman was thinking, how this mountain is so heavy. How am I going to do it? It's so heavy. What am I going to do? Hanuman did not have the power or strength to fly with that mountain on hand. But Ram has the strength to maintain the entire planet, right? He's keeping the he's keeping every planet in the orbit by his strength. For him, what is the weight of the mountain? If he wants to empower a devotee, it's no problem. That's what he did. And Hanuman came with that mountain to Ram, Lakshman, simply by the fragrance of those herbs. Uh, Lakshman was perfectly healed with his wounds. So this is the point, dear devotees. Uh, how Lord empowers his devotees, how spiritual master empower a devotee when they are surrendered. In the battle of Kurukshetra, Krishna could have destroyed those armies within a second. When he revealed his universal form, the Virat roop to Arjuna, he was showing simply by opening his mouth, he could swallow the armies, right? In the form of time. But he wanted Arjuna to take credit. He wanted to glorify Arjuna as the greatest hero. So therefore, he empowered Arjuna to win this war, right? Similarly, even in Ramayana, he put himself in a desperate, helpless position so that the glory of Bhakti, the glory of Hanumanji is brought into light to show the whole world the victory of Hanuman, how Hanuman did anything and everything as the service of the Lord, and how Rama was happy because of his service. So, this is what in each and episode, Krishna doesn't want anything from us. But when a devotee does it, it is for his own purification. So, dear devotees, um, the theme that we have to understand over and over is a devotee. There is a difference between a devotee and a demon. A devotee is willing to accept and admit that whatever I have, it's you, my Lord. It's because of you. But when we think the other way, then we are actually demoniac, right? So this is what it is. Uh, and I was thinking I will also make use of this opportunity to talk about a few other things. Um, in conditioned life, we are all serving the demands of the senses, demands of the mind. We are walking down the street, we see something, our eyes are attracted. In actuality, the eyes may be attracted to something, or the eyes doesn't get attracted to something. Then what happens immediately? The eye sees it, and there is an impulse that goes to the mind. The mind is either attracted or not attracted, and immediately the mind responds by what? Either accepting or rejecting. Yes, I want this. I don't want it. And then the intelligence comes into play. There is a power of discrimination. The intelligence can decide, oh, yeah, this is good for me. Oh, this is not good for me. If it's not good for me, the intelligence will tell the mind and the senses, no, don't do it. Go somewhere else. If the intelligence is attracted, if the intelligence discriminates, yes, this is something good, no matter how difficult it is, so it will make sure you should do the work and you should do it. Say, for example, you are walking down the street, you smell something very nice. It so what happens? This smelling of your fragrance that's very nice gets registered, and then it goes to the mind. The mind says, "Yes, aha, I have to have this. It's smelling so good." Maybe it's a bakery item with nice sweets, and intelligent tells you, "Oh my God, you have diabetes, Mataji. What are you doing? You cannot have this." But the mind says, "Yes, yes, I want it, no matter what. I have diabetes, but no problem." The senses are saying, "Yes, yes, I need it." Intelligence is saying, "No, no, don't do it." Now, good intelligence takes the mind and the senses and directs it away from the situation. Good intelligence, right? That's what the good intelligence does. And that's where the faith comes into play. If you're so staunchly believing in a principle, the intelligence says, yes, that's bad for you. You cannot eat non-Ekadashi food on an Ekadashi. If that faith is strong, then it says, yeah, it puts a hold to the mind and the senses and says, no, I'm not going to do this no matter what. This is not, it's not right as per the scriptures. That's what the good intelligence says, and I'm not going to do. But if the intelligence comes under the influence of the mind and the senses, then the intelligence will figure out a way to get it. You understand? That's bad intelligence. That's how the intelligence works its way to get what the mind and the senses want. It will figure out a way to get it. Real intelligence, according to Gita, is the intelligence that follows the dictation of the Atma or the soul, the real needs of you and me. What is it? Maybe you have a car, the car needs oil and gasoline. If you identify with the car, you think, let me drink oil and gasoline. But your intelligence says, oh, no, you need a different type of food. The Atma, the soul, is hankering for. It is Sachidananda. It is eternal, full of knowledge and full of pleasure. But when we forget the inner pleasure of our heart, what happens? We identify with something else. This is the problem, right? Everything we experience through the mind is dukkalayam ashashvatam. It is temporary. It'll be destroyed. It'll be destroyed in the course of the time. All the things that we are attached to. Being attached means attached to the source of life, the soul. Being attached to things. Yes, we may think I'm in love with someone. But are you in love with something or are you in love with someone? Right? Mind is a thing, a body is a thing. Because at the time of death, where are they? They are just things. It's a life force. The source of life, the Atma, the soul. Jiva is one. That is the person. So to love someone means to love the soul. Even your own mother, father and mother, if they die, there is not much love for the dead body, right? There is not much love for the person that has left the body. What are the needs of the soul? If you look at it, the soul is hungry for pleasure because it is Sachidananda. It is eternal, full of knowledge and bliss. And what is this pleasure? What is that pleasure? Pleasure of prema or love. That is the only food that can give satisfaction to the heart. To love and to be loved. When your intelligence is guided by the actual needs and wants of the soul, then our life will be directed to the highest goal of life. When our intelligence is guided by mind and senses against the actual wants and needs of the soul, then what happens? It leads to so many karmic situations, dear devotees, and everybody will be like that of that mountain who's in Maya, right? So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explained, Jivera Swarupa Hoy, Krishnera Nitya Das. The greatest treasure of treasures is to serve serve in the on the transcendental platform. In order to serve with love, in order to be a servant, you have to become a master of what? You have to become a master of mind and the senses. So you have to be a master to be a real servant. Master of what? Master of your mind and senses. So at the same time, in order to master your senses and mind, um, you should understand the scriptures. This is what yoga is. Real yoga means, in essence, to reconnect your consciousness and bring it back to its original spiritual nature. Clean the mind, clean the senses, bring them in harmony with the Atma of the soul. But in order to do so, it is important to be convinced what real wealth is. Things are not real wealth. Divine experience is a real wealth. Because what happens through that divine wealth? We are talking about fulfillment. Krishna tells in Gita, a really intelligent person is someone who is illumined within, who rejoices within, who finds an ultimate satisfaction within. And we find the greatest people because wealth means happiness, right? If you have billions or even trillions or quadrillions of rupees, dollars, or euros, if you're not happy, are you a wealthy person? No. You might not be on the cover of the front page of a Fortune magazine, but are you a happy person? Anxiety, frustration, identity crisis, ultimately, some form or other, you can't even have a single penny. Then these are all due to your identity crisis that you are having. But wealth of the real eternal soul is everlasting. It's unlimited and it brings so much happiness that you can't even imagine. So this is what is the difference between kama and prema, right? Kama is for material passion, and prema is spiritual love. And kama is when you are selfish, and when prema happens when you are selfless. Uh, so this is what it is, dear devotees. And now, if you look at the story of Narottama Das, right? Narottama Das, he was the only son of an extremely wealthy landlord owner, namely Krishnananda Masumdar. And he lived like for 450 years ago in Bengal, he lived like a king. In fact, all the people in the areas where he owned the land, which were thousands and thousands of people, many villages, they considered him like a king. And his only son was Narottam Das Thakur. That means Narottam was going to inherit everything. Whatever we talked about in terms of his lands and possessions that this king had, it was going to come to Narottam. He had so much home, clothes, fine foods, and everything. A very much good popularity, of course. And when he was a little boy, somebody used to tell him about Krishna and Chaitanya and different devotees of the Lord. And what happened to him, just by hearing these stories, he became so attracted. He wanted this love for God. He wanted devotion. He had a calling. And one day, of course, it's a long story, but Nityananda Prabhu appeared to him and told him that you should go to Padma River because Chaitanya has actually entrusted his love of the heart for you in the Padma River because of your sincerity. And after receiving that, Narottam Das became intoxicated with devotion. He had a vision of the Lord who told him, go to Vrindavan, become the disciple of Loknath Das Goswami. So Narottam, he left the home secretly. He was only 15 or something. And in those days, if you have to go to a place, you have to walk and go. So he had to walk to Vrindavan through the Jarikan forest. That was, of course, dangerous. Maybe thousands of kilometers, just a boy, all alone. And his father, when he found out his son was gone, he felt so disturbed. He paid a lot of money. He hired detectives to find his son and bring him home by any means. So they found him in the jungles and they said, we are going to take you home by force. There were many of them, and Narottam so sincerely explained to them the nature of his longing, his love for Krishna, and his tendency to serve Krishna. And he gave them beautiful examples. And through his sincerity, they were moved by their heart so deeply that they gave him the money and said, we hope this money could help you with your trip. And we'll tell your father, we never saw you. So when we went to, that's what happens, dear devotees. Then, obviously, when he came to Loknath Das Goswami, please tell me about your life. And Narottam Das explained about his life. And Loknath Goswami Maharaj, he said, how can I be your guru? There are two problems. One is I have never initiated a disciple in my life. And after my two dearest friends, Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami, passed away from this world to join Krishna's eternal Leela, I'm feeling so much separation from them. And it's impossible for me to take any responsibility of anyone's guru. So I am not going to, it is not possible for me, Narottam, to take you as my disciple. I will not and I cannot. It's impossible. And besides that, you're already loving Krishna. You already saw Chaitanya. You don't need a guru. Just be happy. And Narottam said, actually, Chaitanya may have come. So I'm so undeserving. I'm so unqualified. I'm just not even able to get your guidance. I don't even have your blessings. Then I'm lost in this world. And besides that, the Lord told me to accept you as my guru. Even the Lord accepts a guru when he comes into this world. So it's necessary for me to do. Like that, Narottam Das is explaining Loknath Das Goswami Maharaj. Loknath Goswami Maharaj said it's not possible. Okay, I'll do one thing. I'll examine you for 1 year. And today, I'm not your guru, but I'm giving you this instruction. You start chanting 200,000 names of the Lord a day. That means 128 rounds every day. Narottam Das Thakur chanted 128 rounds every day. Okay. Narottam Das Thakur, he didn't want to disturb. He was pressing. You're supposed to please your guru. You're supposed to press your guru, pressurize your guru, cause him misery. No, no, no. That's not real relationship. Ishya prasadat bhagavat prasado. If you force your guru to initiate you, then it's probably better of you to not get initiated. But because what is important now for him is pleasing his guru. Pleasing him is more important than the formalities. That's what he felt. So Narottam Das Thakur, he did not push his guru, right? Every morning, Loknath Das Goswami would bathe in Yamuna river very early when it was dark. But he was noticing something really strange because before he would bath, he would respond to his nature's call. That's the way sadhus in India explain passing of stool and urine to respond to nature's calls, right? And he would do so in the same place before going in the Yamuna. But he noticed it was perfectly clean each and every day when he came. And it was so nice, that area where he would want to wash his hands because obviously they don't have soap those days. These yogis in Vrindavan in those days, it was just the dirt, right? A little pile of fine dirt and a little pot of water is what they would bring and then wash before going. And Loknath Das Goswami Maharaj was thinking a day before and a day before that, the stuff would still be here. Where is it? What's happening? I passed my urine and stool here, and what is happening to those? 1 year passed, and Loknath Das Goswami was asking several people who's cleaning this area. Who's cleaning this area every day? It was Narottam Das Thakur. He never told anyone. It's not that he put on his website, yeah, this is what I am. I did the service to my guru. I did the service to so and so every day. I'm going 2 o'clock in the morning before anybody wakes up, clean the stool and urine with my own hands, making it nice just to please my guru. He didn't have any kind of ulterior motive, dear devotees. This is a problem with the mind. When the mind gets involved, we start to have ulterior motives because, oh, he did this to me. Why should I do this to him? Those sort of things come. Oh, I need to. The ego comes into play. He was hoping nobody will ever find out, not even his guru. But Loknath, who's doing this? Loknath Das Goswami was very, very serious. And one day he decided he was going to ask Narottam Das Thakur. But then he became embarrassed. Was embarrassed to ask, oh, Narottam, did you clean my urine and stool? He was very embarrassed to ask him. So he asked, Narottam, what are you doing all day? And Narottam was saying, yes, I'm chanting 200,000 names of the Lord. And that's as far as the interrogation went. And now the time went on, the whole year passed, and Loknath Das Goswami thought, I have to find out who and why anybody is doing this to me. So Loknath Das Goswami would wake up really early in the morning, earlier than before. Well, probably he didn't sleep that much anyways. So he went to the place earlier than before and he hid behind the trees and he waited. And then he saw this form of somebody was in the dark. He saw like a shadowy person coming to a broom in his hand, right? Brooms with handles we used to have. They are just like this. And you get on your hands and knees and you sweep. Yes. And he saw somebody sweeping very carefully, collecting the urine and stool and putting it somewhere else, moving it to another place, and then sweeping the whole area. But Loknath Das Goswami Maharaj was not able to see who this person is. So he came out of his hiding place and asked this person, who are you? And suddenly in shadowy form offered his dandavats and he's prostrating. Narottam Das is prostrating before Loknath Das Goswami. And Loknath said, who are you? What are you doing here? Why are you doing this? And he got up with his folded palms. He said, Gurudev, it is me, Narottam. And Loknath Das Goswami Maharaj saw him and he began to cry. He cried out loudly. He said, Narottam, Narottam, why are you doing this? You are coming from a very, very royal family. You are a prince. You are meant to be a king. You are meant to be living with fine suit, fine silk clothes, and fine foods. How are you doing this? Right? With many servants doing like this, many servants can do like this to you. Why are you doing this to me? Why are your hands and knees cleaning someone's stool and urine? Why are you doing this? Narottam Das began to cry and he spoke. he said, my Gurudev, I left behind all these insignificant things of this world to attain the most precious form of treasure of all treasures. The opportunity to perform this menial service for my Gurudev, this is my treasure. This is my real wealth. When Maharaj heard this, his heart melted. He said, Narottam, you've conquered my heart. You come with me, I will initiate you. That humble service attitude conquers Krishna, dear devotees. This is what it is. The secret to all our endeavors that we put in is to just not get glory for ourselves, but just be on the back and do the service to a fullest to your heart's content without expecting anything in return, without expecting, yes, I'm going to become popular, I'm going to get this, going to get this remuneration, so on and so forth. That's not what it is. If you have real love to serve, then it should be unmotivated. That is the lesson. And if you come back to today's verse, how did the jiva who is spiritual attain his body which is material? The answer will be given shortly in the 9th canto, but the question has to be also understood, right? So, why is this jiva having a material body when in fact he is spiritual, right? This will be answered. That's why we talked so much about body, mind, and how we cannot identify with the body and mind, and how we have to identify ourselves with the soul. And the soul's desire is to be happy. And how you can be happy? When you know the highest goal of life. And the highest goal of life is to serve Krishna, become the servant of the Krishna. To become servant of Krishna, you have to first become servant of your spiritual master. When you truly become the servant of your spiritual master, then you are pleasing Krishna. This is the highest treasure of life that Narottama Das believed in, and we should also strive for it, dear devotees. So with this, we will pause today's class. I know I'm probably right on time. वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासन्तुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। नामाचार्य श्रील हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to all devotees. Thank you. Hare Krishna. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Spiritual Master. Hare Krishna. Thank you, dear devotees.
Hare Krishna Mataji, thank you so much. Thank you for taking us around the journey of Narottam Das Thakur's life. It's so beautiful and so many nice explanation as usual. Thank you so much. As you said, we should not wait to gain something in return when we are doing something. It's like do your karma, whatever you have, and I think in Urdu, they say, Neki kar darya mein dal, right? I hope you understand. It says, do your duty and leave it in the river. Let it go, let it flow. Krishna will deal with it. And Krishna will give us this opportunity. Krishna gives. Yes, he does. He gives us this opportunity, this understanding, and this power to talk and everything. It's just Krishna. And thank you also for telling us that how we should be remembering Krishna all the time, because suppose we have some pain and we just forget about Krishna. Oh, it's hurting. Like we keep on telling that. Recently, I crossed my finger in the car door, and that hurt so much. So my focus was only on that finger. And then I realized that my karma, bad karma. My daughter said, no, mom, it's not your bad karma, it's stupidity, because you didn't realize you put your finger in the door. But all these things are there. Yes, Mataji, we should. It doesn't matter if we are suffering or not. We should put Krishna in the center. And then Krishna will deal with everything at the appropriate time for us. Thank you, Mataji. Thank you, everyone, for joining. Anybody for any question or any comments, please go ahead. Okay, if there is no question or comment, so we will end this session. And I will say thank you again. So let's all unmute and chant a Mahamantra for Mataji Radhika Kosuri, for her glorification. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Vanchakalpatarubhasya kripa sindhubhaiva cha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo namo namaha. ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, आनंद कोटि वैष्णव की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय, श्री गुरुदेव की जय, रथ यात्रा की जय, Her Grace Kasturi, Radhika Kasturi Mataji ki jai.
All
Thank
glories to
you. Thank you. Thank you.
all glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Mataji. Thank you for the
Thank
lovely
you.
chants.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
See you all next week. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Also destruction of property and desecration of institutions and emblems of our sovereignty. Today's events mark a critical turning point on how we respond to grave threats to our national security. I assure the nation that the government has mobilized all resources at the nation's disposal to ensure that a situation of this nature will not recur again at whatever cost. I thank our security officers who were on duty today for applying themselves to the best of their abilities in the defense of Kenya and its people. Accordingly, I have directed all the organs of our national security to deploy measures to